So, you've decided to
Oh,
explore
no,
the
this is a bad
exciting
joke.
world of
Insert game
no,
name here.
Bad joke. Well, come along as
such
we
a bad
explore
joke.
all
No,
that
stop. Insert game name here.
has to offer. Hello, fellow citizens. My name is Rob, and welcome to, well, I'd say another video, but this is the first video in my Star Citizen tutorial series. So welcome to the first video in the Star Citizen tutorial series. Today we're going to be talking about how to get started in Star Citizen in patch 3.15, which is the current most glorious version of Star Citizen, and the one I would suggest getting started with if you are not already a part of this game. And, you know, this guide also works if you've taken a very long break and come back. I know a lot of people have said, shit, last time I played this game, there were just like hangars and an Arena Commander module, and now what the hell? So let's go ahead and jump into, we're going to start with the basics. And I know a lot of people say, how do I get started? How do I get into this game? What's the first thing I need to do? Well, if you are joining this week, there is a free fly going for the next 2 weeks, I believe. So you can jump in, you'll have a free ship waiting in your hangar, and you'll be ready to fly. Nothing else is needed other than creating an account. And if you create an account and use my reference code, you'll get an additional amount of aUEC and some other nice rewards too. So don't forget that. But let's go ahead and jump into this. We're going to go ahead and start with where you would start with it, which is the RSI website. So if you aren't familiar, the Star Citizen website is called RobRantzIndustries.com. Why? Don't know, but that's the way it goes. Anyway, if you're looking at this web page, the place you want to go if you are starting this game as a free fly person would be to account, and then you would enlist now. You could also do the same thing if you're starting new, but what we want to look at if you are joining after the free fly and you just want to get an account, or you did join during the free fly and you still just want to get an account, we can go to Pledge Store here, and we want to look at game packages. So you'll go ahead and click View All Game Packages, and you can see what game packages are available to you. And I think the lowest one here is about $40. Yeah. So the lowest one is your Mustang IE starter package that is available at a discount right now during the free fly event. Otherwise, it's $45. So if you're seeing this after the free fly event, it's $45. You can go ahead and purchase this, and this will give you access to the game and a Mustang Alpha. So you'll get the Mustang Alpha. You get the Mustang Alpha Polar Paint. You get the Star Citizen digital download, 1,000 aUEC of currency, and you'll get more if you use my referral code. 120 months of insurance. That means absolutely nothing right now because there is no insurance active in the game. And the self-land hangar, which also means nothing right now until 3.17, I believe. So anyway, you would go ahead and add this to your cart, and that would give you the actual game package. This part right here is the biggest part. Once you get that game package, you're good to start creating an account. Well, I'm sure it'll ask you to create an account when you go ahead and check out with your cart. And then it'll give you the prompt to go ahead and download the game and all that good stuff, right? Yeah, so once you have the account, you'll get this screen. It'll show that you have one game package. It'll show what your RSI account is, and then you would just download the installer. Now, you heard me say cross-chassis upgrade. Well, once you have an account, you can go to My Hangar, right? And you can go to Ship Upgrades. You can also get to this through the actual store too. But let's say you have a starter package with a Nomad, right? Well, you can see that you can exchange the from Nomad to basically any ship that costs more than the Nomad. So you get the price of that ship minus the price you paid for the original ship. So this ship is right now valued at $80 cash. So if I wanted to upgrade it to an Avenger Warlock, that would be $85, and I would only pay $5. So that's how CCUs work. There's also melting and a bunch of other shit, but you can't melt your game package. So unless you have some ships that you bought outside of your game package, you would just do the cross chassis upgrade. So putting that aside, that is how you get a game package and how you get into the game. Once you get into the regular game, boop. Once you get into the actual game, you come to this screen right here once you're downloaded and everything else. The first thing I would say is go to options, go to graphics. You want to make sure that your resolution is correct. I play borderless. I find it the easiest for like alt-tabbing and everything. Even if you have the best system in the universe, I would not suggest running this thing at high or very high. Medium looks just as pretty as everything else. High and very high will just make your system want to murder you. And yeah. So, I mean, you can try it on high and see how it goes. But basically, I have all this stuff on medium, and I do have a pretty powerful system. If you are still running anything lower than like a 1080 Ti, I would not try to play this game. Same thing goes with like older generation CPUs or not enough memory. This thing is a hog, and yeah, if you give it a try and you realize that it's not running very well, it's probably because your system can't handle it. The other thing this requires is a pretty fast internet connection for bandwidth reasons. So if you have a very slow internet, stuff is not going to update fast enough. You'll just end up falling through the world a lot. This setting right here, planet volumetric clouds, make sure you turn that down to medium. You can try high. But I would not suggest very high. You'll just lag out a lot in planetary, like when you're coming into the planets. And the rest of this is just up to you, right? As far as game setting goes, the things that I would suggest are turning on sprint toggle. I like it, but that's up to you. I don't like holding down shift for an extended period of time while I'm running around. Just tap it and good to go. I also turned off the show hints, but that might be helpful to you. And then there's a bunch of other stuff in here that's interesting, but one of the other things I like to turn off is the zoom in. This one right here. Vehicles targeting, enable auto zoom on locked target. I'm not a fan of this. Basically what it does is it'll zoom in on the target that you're shooting at, but then all of a sudden you can't see any of your displays. So you can't see like the damage status of your target. So as you're shooting them, it'll just keep zooming in on the enemy, which is, okay, it's helpful for firing, but it's not helpful for continuing to see your instruments. So I always turn that off, but that's up to you, right? Right. And that's about it. If you go over to key bindings here, you can see all of the key bindings for the game. So you can reference back to this anytime you're like, shit, what is decoy? What is VTOL toggle? How do I raise my landing gear? It's all in here. You can look at it, and you can shift this from flight to on foot, so you can see what the FPS commands are as well here. All right. So you're back on this screen. You've done all your settings changes and stuff. What you're going to do first is enter the persistent universe. So you would click on that. If this is your first time running the game, it's going to ask you where you would like to start and where you would like your primary residence. You can choose any of the 4 planets. I would advise against choosing Hurston because it is just a pain in the butt to navigate Hurston, and it's dirty, and there's not really a lot there to, that are really good for you. Orison is great. ArcCorp is great. Microtech is pretty great as well. Microtech has a lot of shops and stuff like that you can use. So once you choose your primary location, you click enter the verse, and it'll bring you to your character customization. A few things about character customization. You have the male body and the female body. They are still working on the female frame, and some of the armors get a little wonky on the female frame. So if you want your armors to look really good, you want to choose the male frame most of the time. And you can change your look at your character customization at any time down here. So if you don't like how your character looks, you can go ahead and click on that. So you click enter the verse, and there we go. All right, so I chose Orison as my home station just because I freaking love Orison, and it used to be kind of out of the way, but it seems a lot more people are coming over on this side of the galaxy, or the system, I guess you would say, rather. This side of the system, now that Orison is actually here. So if you chose anywhere else, you're going to kind of have the same startup procedures, or you're going to follow the same kind of guide here, right? So if you want to get out of bed, you can just push a direction key, or you can hit Y. Y is usually your stand-up key. If even when you're in ships, you hold Y instead of just tap it. But yeah, you'll wake up in Orison or wherever you chose. Look at your lovely habitat. Some may be uglier than others. I like Orison and Microtech's interiors better than the other varieties or options. But yeah, your room is basically a temporary entity. So once you leave it, you really won't do anything with it again. So the game does try to load the same instance. So if you do leave things in your room, they're usually there when you come back. But once you exit the room, it's kind of hard to get back into the room without logging off and back on. So just keep that in mind. While you're trying to navigate all this, you can see that the chat there in the upper left may get a little loud for you. You can go ahead and hit F12, and that hides the chat. So while you're trying to get everything together, you can just go ahead. Ooh, this opens. Oh, I did not know that. They all open. That is freaking cool. Even that opens. Can I drink the coffee? No, I can't. Can I turn the sink on? No, I can't do that either. Oh, but it's nice to know we're still using the same Brillo pads from 2001. In 29, whatever year it is in game. Oh, and they added light switches so you can, turn your lights off. Anyway, moving on. Once you have all that done, you're going to hit I to open up your inventory. You will not have this swanky gear right here, but you will have a lot of, you'll just have the basic RSI armor, and that should be all you have. But this is the armor system now. You can just drag and drop to equip items onto you. It's pretty easy when it works. So for this game, F is your use key, right? So if you saw me hit the button here, I just held down F and I clicked. Alternatively, you can hold F and right click, and that brings up your kind of wheel. Once this is up, you can let go of F. But you can look at your actions here. Weapon select, Moby Glass, respawn, go prone, wipe helmet, emote. We've got a bunch of emotes in here, including my favorite, which is the rude emote. Whoops. Why does it keep popping back up? Anyway, there we go. So if you want to get out of the room, you're going to hold F and you're going to click. You'll see this circle pop up. So if you're too far away, you're not going to be able to click. But once it turns into like this circle thing, you can click on it. There are shorter ways to do that. If you tap F while looking at the thing that you want to use, it'll default to like the actual use. So if I just tap F, it opens, right? Same thing if I hold F and I click, it's going to do the same thing. So welcome to Green Circle on Orison. It is very pretty. This is the city in the clouds, held aloft by ion thrusters in a orbit of the gas supergiant. So this is Crusader Industries headquarters. Each of the planets in the Stanton system are owned by a corporation. The Stanton system is the only system where the planets were sold off wholesale to corporations. So pretty cool. Once you get out of your room, you would go to the elevator, click on the call elevator button. You can hear it makes a little kind of beep sound, so that knows that you clicked it. I usually click those because just tapping F sometimes doesn't work. And the same thing with these, it's easier to hold F and select the lobby here. And it'll also pop up here that we're going to the lobby next floor, right? And if you want to be a super child, you can click on every floor and the elevator will actually go to every floor before it gets to the lobby. So if you want to be a dick, you can do that. Once you get out of your habitat, usually you will follow the markers towards the tram station. For Orison, it's a little bit different, but it's kind of the same principle. If you're at Microtech or ArcCorp or anything else, you'll want to try to find the tram station so you can get to the spaceport where you will get to your ship, right? There's a bunch of stuff to do. If you don't have a lot of money, there's really not many options for you to do anything, but you can buy armor here at these places. You can buy weapons, all that good stuff. So as we come out here, you can see that this is clearly marked August Dunlo Spaceport. There's another tram over there that goes to the Providence platform where some of the ship shops are, the ship material shops. So if you want to buy a new power plant or something like that. And we also have the medical facilities here and a few shops, including a convenience store that sells firearms. So you can pick up your Coke and a P90.
Please clear the hatch.
You know, when your wife says, honey, can you go to the store and pick me up some ammo while you're there too? So we hop on the tram, and then we pretty much just enjoy the flight. So pretty much the same procedure. If you're at ArcCorp, you'll get to like the center plaza where there's a big ball in the middle, and the little Skyway transport is there. And if you're at Hurston, you'll find the signs. Just follow the signs to the tram. It's a dirty ass train. And if you're at Microtech, you basically just walk out of the front lobby and down some stairs, and you're at the tram station for Microtech. So this game is very big. If you go ahead and hit F2, you can bring up your star map, and you can see, like, we are over here at Crusader. Microtech is over here, and ArcCorp and Hurston, and all these other stations and asteroid belts and everything else that you can go to. And then, you know, the planets have moons and bunches of other things. All right, so where do we go from here? We go to the actual spaceport. And we're going to go to what's called the ASOP terminal. The ASOP terminal is where you would summon your ship. Ah! Oh, another thing I forgot to mention. If you find yourself walking very slow and you're like, what the heck? Why is my walk speed so slow? This game uses the mouse wheel to increase your rate of walking speed. So if you just scroll your mouse wheel all the way up, you can see it increases my speed. Same thing with run speed. So, yeah. And of course, if I hit shift, I'll go into a run. You can only run for so long before you give yourself a heart attack. So be careful with that. If you start seeing your pulse meter going crazy and your character is making very harsh breathing sounds, you probably want to stop running. So these are the ASOP terminals. They're also called vehicle retrieval consoles. If you click on it, it brings up a list of all of your ships. So whatever you want to claim. Let's go ahead and grab the
Stay hydrated and take plenty of rest breaks. If symptoms persist, please contact a medical professional.
not the hammerhead. Something easy to get out of the atmosphere here. We'll go ahead and use the arrow. So you'll wait. It'll tell you where your ship is going. So your ship will be waiting at Hangar 7. So once you get your hangar, you walk over here, and then you forget what hangar it told you. And luckily, you can just look at the icon there, and it'll show you where your ship is in Hangar 7. Before they added that, you had to go back to the terminal and go, shit, what hangar did they say? Especially if you're talking to your friends and you're like, oh crap, what hangar am I going to now? Oh, that was quick. Whee! So once you get to your ship, you're going to find wherever the access point is. You can see on most ships that there's going to be a little circle with a dot in it that's going to tell you where an interactable point is. You can turn those off later in the menu. So if you don't like seeing those on your ship and you know where your interactable points are, you can disable that. But generally, it'll tell you where you're going to want to click to get into the ship. So we're going to click on Enter Pilot Seat. And now your question might be, well, now what? I'm in this ship. How do I do anything? There's two ways to do it. You can use the keyboard shortcuts, or you can click on things if you like clicking on things better. So we can just click Flight Ready to go completely Flight Ready, or we can click Power On and then click on Start Shields, whatever else, right? The keyboard shortcut is just hit U, and it turns everything on. So that's the easiest way to do it. I, O, and P are your shortcut keys for turning your engines, shields, and weapons on and off. And you can see we've got our heads-up display on the right-hand side. You've got your weapon readouts. You've got how much hydrogen fuel you have, your quantum fuel levels, how many decoys you have, noise you have, what your altitude is. And then on the left-hand side, we have our readouts for VTOL mode, coupled mode, ESP, and whether your gear is up and down. Coupled is like your flight mode for the ship automatically adjusting. So if you want to do all the stuff manually in space, you can turn it to decoupled mode, and then you'll have to apply like reverse thrust and all that stuff. The ship won't just automatically stop when you let off the gas. ESP is your kind of what keeps you from passing out constantly from too many G-forces. So, turn that off at your own risk. Once you're in the ship, you're going to hit F11, and that's going to bring up your global chat, which can also be done by clicking on Comlink. You would click on Friends. Why is it in Friends? I don't know. But you'll see a landing services. This will be different depending on what base or place you're going to, but it always say something landing services, right? So you're going to click on this little button right here. It's going to open up a hail, and you'll get a message in a minute.
You are clear to launch.
And the hangar doors will open. Sometimes it's a vertical hangar, sometimes it's a straight hangar like this. So if it's a vertical hangar, you can hit F4 to kind of go outside your ship. Z is your free look key, so if you hit Z, you can move your mouse around the ship. So if it was a vertical takeoff hangar, I could move so I could see if the hangar doors were open. And if you hit Z again, then it'll go into flight control mode. So if you want to fly in third person, you can, but there's no instruments, so, you know, be cautious with that. If you hit F4, we'll go back into the cockpit. Space bar to take off, to go up. Control to go down, and W will give you forward thrust. And you can look at the keybinds for all of the rest of it. So we're going to hit N, which is our key for landing gear up.
Landing gear raised.
And it'll tell you, and you'll also see on the left there that landing gear is no longer highlighted. So once we get out of here, your mouse wheel with the ship kind of functions like it does when you're walking. It's going to increase your speed limiter. And why do we have a speed limiter? Because when you're landing, you probably want to have less thrust or anything else so you don't slam into stuff. So you can adjust your thrust lower so that your movements are more controlled. Or you can go full throttle and, you know, shoot into the atmosphere. C is cruise control. That'll automatically set your speed to whatever you have the highest selected. So if we hit C, you'll see a little little triangle with a line over it on your left side there, on your I don't know what the hell you call that thing. Your acceleration meter, your speedometer, whatever. But if we hit C again, you'll see it turns off and we start to slow down. So that'll hold your speed at that. If you're in atmosphere, you're going to get atmospheric resistance, so you're not going to go full speed. In space, you can go full speed, but it's going to take you longer to stop. If you also see, you have like a white bar and a red bar. If you're in the white bar, that's technically your safe maneuver speed, so you're going to be able to combat maneuver and function a little better in a dogfight. And the red just makes everything like it takes longer to stop, it takes longer to turn, etc., 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 etc. C'est la vie. So we'll do a like full combat breakdown of these ships, so I don't want to get into too much of this, but basically that's all you need to know to get started in terms of like flying around and everything else. So Orison is a little bit of a bitch to get out of the atmosphere far enough to actually do anything, right? So we can look around the ship and see that we're getting up there. And the next thing you need to know is hit B as in boy or Bravo to bring up your quantum drive system. So when one of these triangles turns white, we can actually use the quantum drive to get out of the atmosphere faster, but it's going to take them a hot minute. Alright, you can see that we now have some options here. So I'm going to go ahead and align. Oh shit, I maneuvered too fast and I'm starting to pass out. Alright, so your alignment point is actually this little bracket right here. So you see what I'm circling with my mouse? Not this triangle. The triangle is kind of misleading. So you want to put that little bracket there on top of the thing to start spooling. So if you're in a ship, it kind of differs based on which ship you're in, where that bracket is. Sometimes the bracket is inside the triangles. Sometimes it's like way above them, and you'll be like, why is this not spooling? And that's why you gotta have it in the little crosshairs there. So once we do that, we're gonna hold B, and that engages your quantum drive. Once you get to your next destination, the quantum drive does not turn off on its own. So if you want to start, like, if you're trying to target something and you're like, shit, why can't I target? Why can't I request docking? Blah 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 blah. Blah. Hit B, turn off your quantum drive. So you can see now that we're in space, we're going full speed. And then from here, you can pretty much go anywhere, do anything, check out other things, as long as you can pay for your fuel and everything else. Your mouse buttons control your weapons systems, so... Whee! I fucking love scorpions, but those things do not have a lot of ammo. That's the benefit of energy weapons over ballistics. And they're still kind of balancing out. I just usually take all the ballistics off my ships and put energy weapons on because I don't have to worry about buying new ammo every time I land. But that is up to you, right? So once we get into space, we can hit F2, bring up our space map, and select where we want to go. I would suggest if you're starting on Orson, you'll want to go to a space station that has a medical facility where you can switch your home planet. If you're just starting and you only have one ship, you can go wherever you want. But if you have a bunch of shit, it's all going to be where your home planet was, and so all of your inventory and everything else, so you're like all the armor that you start with and all that ammo or anything you buy will be on your home planet. So that is accessible on the home planet and on the orbital above the planet. So let's say you were starting at ArcCorp, you decided ArcCorp was the place for you. We can zoom in here on ArcCorp. So your all of your ships and your gear would be accessible from area 18 and also Bajini Point, which is the orbital above ArcCorp. And also Bajini Point has a medical facility, so you can redo your image there so that you spawn on the orbital and not on... Actually, you spawn on the orbital anyway because ArcCorp's medical facility isn't ready. But anywhere else, you probably want to set your spawn point to the orbital. Orson, unfortunately, only has Port Olisar as its orbital, so you can still access all your gear and ships from Port Olisar, but Port Olisar doesn't have a medical facility because all they did was move Port Olisar from like orbit out here to orbit in the planet and didn't really add any of the new facilities to it. It does have an armor facility and a weapons shop. And a ship parts shop. So that's handy. But otherwise, I would either suggest going to Grimhex or going to CRU-1, which is a little bit away. So we're going to go ahead and do CRU-1. And if you're wondering how I zoom in and out on this map so quick, if you double click on anything, you'll zoom into it. And then you can use the mouse wheel to zoom out. So if I double right click, it'll automatically zoom out too. So we're gonna click on Crusader L1, and we're gonna click set route, and you can see up here if it accepted it or not. Sometimes if you try to fly a path, like if I was going to Hurston L1, it might not let me because I'm skirting too close to the sun, and it won't let you engage the drive if it's going to send you through the sun, just to keep you from exploding, because, you know, exploding's bad. Once you have set route, you can hit F2 to close your star map again. And you'll see a little triangle that you want to point towards. And it's going to be the only option. Once you set your destination, all the other available quantum travel points disappear. So we're going to go ahead and hit B and start spooling up our drive. Once both of these are at 100%, you can hold B and we'll be on our way to Crusader L1. So hold B.
Quantum drive is now on.
So most of this game is just following waypoints and things like that. Some waypoints for missions are warpable, so you can warp directly to them. Some missions some waypoints for missions, you actually have to go into the star map and set it as your destination in order to warp to them. So just be aware of that. There is a bunch of little things just to be aware of. Workarounds and such. Sometimes the quantum drive doesn't spool correctly when you hold B, even though you're full. So when that happens to you, you just want to move your cursor off of the warp destination and then back on and let it recalibrate. And usually that works most of the time. And if you're experiencing like really weird shit, like your ship won't respond to your flight controls or anything, you can hold Y to get out of the cockpit and then get back in. Obviously, this works a little easier with ships that aren't fighters. Fighters, you kind of want to make sure that you're at a complete stop before you jump out of the cockpit, because, you know, the ship will keep going and you'll be stuck in space. If you do log off, so if you go back to the main menu and then you log back in, you'll be at the last place that you docked at with all of your gear and everything. If you kill yourself by holding the backspace key, well, then you just lost all your gear. So if you can log out, and it's not going to always be that way where you can just log out and go back to your last station. But for now, and with the awareness that there are bugs in the game that make you just fall out into space sometimes, they put that in so that you can just go back to your last point. Obviously, you're going to have to claim your ship again. Oh, God, I forgot my cruise controls on. Don't do that, because it's bad. Ah! Oh, another tip here. So, holding X puts on your space brakes. It's actually reverse thrust, but we'll call it space brakes, right? By default, you have to hold shift in order to use your boosters to slow down faster, but there is an option in the game settings that is use boosters when slowing down. It is somewhere in here. Crouch, interactive, highlight, laser, blah, 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 blah. Couple mode, yes. HOTAS invert. There it is. Space brake engages boost. I always put that on yes, because if I'm holding my space brake, it's because I want to slow down quickly. Otherwise, I would just flip over and, you know, do a reverse thrust, but yeah, turn and burn, or whatever you call it. Once you get to a station, we're going to repeat the same procedures as we did for takeoff. We're going to hit F11, which will bring up your thingy here. You're going to hit Friends, and you can see right here, Crusader L1 Ambitious Dream Station. We'll go ahead and click that. It'll give me a assign landing bay. Sometimes we got to figure out where that is. Oh, there it is. You'll see a circle with a little downward triangle, downward arrow, whatever you want to call that. And this is where we would change our forward thrust. So I'm going to pull that down with my middle mouse wheel so that I'm not going to slam into the station. You can see that it is now limiting how fast I'm going to go. We're going to hit N to bring down landing gear.
Landing gear deployed.
If your ship has VTOL, you can hit K to toggle that. But we don't really need VTOL that much in space. So you'll line up with the landing pad, and at this point you can adjust even more, so you're fine just going forward very slow. Once you get in the landing zone, if you want auto land, you can hold N or you can just continue to press Control to go down. If we hold N, you'll hear like a beep, and then it'll auto land you. So once we get here, we're pretty much safe. So once you're touched down on the landing pad, your ship is stored at this location. So if anything happens, your ship will be here. If we go to what I said earlier, the vehicle maintenance services, you can see that now I have these options to repair, restock, refuel, all that stuff. It takes a little bit of time for each of these, so it'll usually do the fuel first and then restock you and then repair your ship, so you want to be patient while all that's happening. So if we select everything, and you can kind of just select everything and get out of your ship, and it'll still carry on with it. So it's pretty good, yes. Right? If we want to shut the ship down, we just hit U again, and then hold Y to get out of the ship. We're good to go. We're going to go ahead and run inside here. So once we're in here, the landing pads will automatically store your ship, but if you want to make sure that no one's going to pad ram your ship while it's sitting out there waiting to be stored, you can go in here and click store, and it'll immediately store your ship. So I usually come in here and hit store just in case somebody wants to be a douche out there and ram your ship while it's on the pad. Once we get in here, we can go to the HABs area, which we just follow the corridor. Most of these stations are the same. You'll see Easy Hab. Get there. Right across from the Easy Hab is the medical facility. If we go to the medical facility here, we can do a patient check-in. Room 1. Okay. So we're going to go to room 1 here. We're going to go ahead and lie down on the bed. Oh, I could have used the terminal right there in front of the bed too. This works too though. And up here on the services, you're going to click regeneration, and you're going to transfer your imprint to the new place that you want to respawn at if you die. So right now I have mine at the Green Imperial Medical. I'm going to leave that alone because that's where I want to spawn. But let's say that you're running a lot of mining and you want to respawn at Crusader L1 if you die at all, because there's a good refinery here. You would transfer your imprint. So it really doesn't matter, but I would get your imprint off of whatever the main planet is. So even if you just go to the orbital station above the planet, except for Crusader, you can do this process, and then if you die, you'll respawn at that station and not have to run from your hab to the tram and then wait for the tram to get to the spaceport and then wait for the spaceport to spawn your ship and then wait to get out of the gravity well so you can fly your ship. You get the point. Anyway, that's about it for this video. We can go through like purchasing armor and some other stuff in like a future video on how to do all that, but I just wanted to go over the most like asked questions on like, where do I go to get my ship? How do I get my ship out of the hangar? How do I fly my ship? Basically, how do I get to another station? How would I select a mission? So hopefully I answered your questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments section or on Discord or whatever else. If you're just looking for somebody to play with, hit me up as well on the friend requests for the game. I also have a Discord and an org that you're welcome to join. We're not like as active as some orgs, but if I get a lot of people in there and people start playing a lot, then I'd be more than happy to start doing some team-based stuff, or pulling out the big ships and letting everybody fire off the turrets on the Hammerhead or something like that. So anyway, that's all this guide has to say. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. As always, it really does help out all of our, it helps out me and all of the other content creators on this platform, especially the small ones. So don't forget to do that. And yeah, that's about it for now. Oh, look, somebody's coming in for a landing. That's one of the coolest things about this game is everything takes place in real time. Like, nothing's instanced. So if you're in a server with people, you're in a server with people. And if somebody's coming into the station, you can just sit here out the window and watch them land. If that ship came and parked itself right in front of this window, the driver would see me standing right here, and I would be able to see him in the cockpit. There's a lot of really fucking cool tech in here. I will say that much. Right? Is it still buggy? Yeah, it's still early alpha, but you know, there's been so many improvements since I started backing this game in the early days that I just, you know, as long as I see forward progression, I'm fine. This thing can take fucking another, I'm gonna say 5 years. I really don't want to say another 10 years, but I guess it can if it wants to. As long as I get a freaking amazing universe out of this, I'm happy, you know? With some of the shit we've had pushed out over the years, like Cyberpunk coming out more broken than this fucking game. I mean, this is an alpha. Cyberpunk's a full release title that people paid full price for. Come on, guys. Oh, but let's not get started on that rant. So, as always, thank you for watching, and until next time, I will see you out here in the verse. Stay safe, my friends.